Hey, what's up everyone? I'm the Burning Baron, but you can just call me the Baron. While the overall idea that this 1000-Year Door remake being real probably hasn't fully settled in with everyone, I think we're past the point of hyperventilating over the mere thought of it. I should hope so, at least. Dying via oxygen loss would defeat the purpose. Stockpile air now so you can lose it all later when the game fully releases. Jokes on our over-the-top reactions aside, one thing that stands out about this particular game is that we're getting a lot more than a lot of us expected. I'm pretty sure most starving classic Paper Mario fans were willing to settle on an enhanced port of this masterful game. Looking at the original graphics getting upscaled probably was already a golden selling point to most, but Nintendo is going the full mile, outright remaking this game from the ground up, giving the marvelous Rogue port and its surrounding areas a massive glow-up in visuals, running far with the modern papercraft looks, and likely being able to top what Origami King pulled off. Healthily. Seriously, this game already looks fantastic. What more can a guy want? Well, that's what I'm largely here to talk about. Much like I did for Mario Party Superstars and the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass, I want to share my thoughts on potential additions this game could throw in. Being a remake offers the potent possibility for extra content. And for a game this amazing, who wouldn't want to be treated to a few extra reasons to stick around? Rogueport is already a shithole of a town, and people love it for many reasons. Tack a few more reasons to love this place down. One big thing I want to address, however. There are going to be some story spoilers into the overall game. I understand this probably means very little to those who have already played the original forward and backward, and know the game better than they know the history of their country's leaders, but this one goes out to the people who have never played the original. You can question who that can be, but I myself already know a few friends on that level, and I'd like to be respectful. Also, going into this game blind is about the best experience you can get. Just do it. But for anyone familiar, sit back and enjoy, and give your thoughts too. What would you like to see in this game? Comment section is yours, my friends, just keep it respectful. My video history seems to vibe with that, so let's dive in. It's worth mentioning that I also firmly believe that Paper Mario the 1000-Year Door doesn't need anything further to be perfect. It's already done that fine once before. And unlike Mario Party Superstars and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's BCP, this isn't relying on past ideas making a return. So it's a bit more limited on what I could possibly talk about, or even think of. But I think the easiest place to start is the art of boss battles. TTYD is choked full of amazing bosses that offer a great end-of-chapter challenge to really test the new abilities and partners you gain through each chapter. Barring Rockhawk, the issue comes with them getting shoved into the dirt and not rising again for the playthrough. So the biggest thing I could ask for is the idea of rematching bosses. It's not something unfamiliar to the Mario RPGs, since the Mario and Luigi series has kinda nailed this with Bowser's Inside Story, Dream Team, and I guess Paper Jam, albeit without the cool recolorings involved. Heck, even the Super Mario RPG remake promoted boss battle rematches in the same direct that would gift us this holy gem of a game. So, to a degree, boss battle rematches feel like a necessary add, and by and far the easiest. I can even provide a perfect place to hold them. Beating the game will allow you to revisit the X-Nut Fortress, and by extension, Tech, who is still holed up in the lowest floor of the fortress. In the original, he's nothing more than another dialogue option and sadly serves no purpose otherwise, despite his massive role in the interludes. So this could open up the perfect role for him, simulating powerful rematches against the noteworthy boss battles of the game. From chapter bosses to notable bosses like the Shadow Sirens or Gloomtail, boosting their stats, giving them potential new moves, it could offer a great challenge. I'm opting to exclude Rockhawk from this list for the sole reason of him already being the only boss you can actually rebattle whenever you want. But even in this case, a power boost would be greatly appreciated. In the original, he has all the same statistics and moves as his first fight, despite him claiming to be new and improved. He's not. So buffing him up would not only provide an extra challenge to the Glitz Pit rematch, but also fits in with his background. Heck, why not buff up the Glitz Pits overall for a second trip? Call that a bonus thought. If we really want to run far with the visual aspect of the game, one thing I really hope for is the cutscenes to run even further. reiterating that I don't think anything additional is required to make this game amazing, but if I want to make this video, I gotta find something to ask for. There are loads of scenes I'd love to see boosted with cinematic cutscene-like treatment. Two notable examples being when Macho Grubba reveals himself, and when Mario gets shot to the moon a la over-the-top cannon ride. The original game already made the latter amazing, but the glow-up in visuals, coupled with the already promising soundtrack arranging, could make that scene alone all the better. It's hard to really describe how I want the cutscenes to play, but working with camera angles is probably the best place to start. Or even a few extra animations for several of the 3D built bosses like Cortez or Magnus von Grapple. I feel there's a lot of potential in fleshing out more character out of these already bursting figures. Cortez could actually assemble himself into his first phase form in a cutscene format, or Magnus could throw a few showy moves as a cinematic intro. And while this might not be on the same scale, we already got a hint of updated scenes with the blimp ride to Glitzville, where all three partners of the time are seen in the blimp alongside Mario, compared to the original where only one current partner was in the blimp with Mario. It'd be really cool if more scenes could include every partner and even have them interact with each other more. Something I never really thought about is how little the partners truly interact with each other in the original game, with them having nothing more than a few dialogue lines with each other before they become partners. It would be cool to see multiple partners out at the same time and for a chance for them to interact with each other. Okay, so if we want a big addition, how about this game do what the Mario & Luigi remakes did, and just add a side adventure? I think this is something a lot of TTYD players can think of, but the easiest side adventure that could be added is Luigi's Adventure. Between each chapter, Luigi can be found generally near the area you'll return from the previous chapter, and he'll have his own partner with him. He'll tell you stories of his own adventure, largely exaggerating himself to make himself look better, but his partners seem to have other thoughts. While proving which side is telling the truth is more or less just a comically added bonus, the real purpose would be for more content. It doesn't have to be too long or even that hard, though difficulty could add even more challenge to those who have already had the game memorized. While this one is definitely something I don't really anticipate, I also didn't anticipate this game at all at this point, so nothing is impossible. Heck, playing as Luigi, maybe he can see Mario and his partners between chapters in Rogueport, and force Luigi to take on an even harder Pit of 100 Trials. Like that needs to be a thing. I 100% would not object to that, by the way. I know there are probably lots of other little things I could cover, difficulty being a common thing one can turn to, and I know a lot of people want to point fingers at TTYD's rather infamous backtracking issues, but for me personally, I never found either to be an issue. I find TTYD to be a pretty balanced game, and the only way it becomes super easy is when you master it. The ins and outs of badges and getting the timing down for guarding and super guarding make TTYD really easy, but the basic knowledge without those makes the game a fair challenge across the board. Plus, I feel like the simplifier and unsimplifier badges already provide something of a way of making the game easier or harder. Simplifier makes action commands easier to pull off at the cost of less star power from the audience, while unsimplifier does the opposite. I don't know, I just feel like I don't need any further balancing. A harder mode would be nicer for myself personally, and maybe an easier mode for newcomers, but neither are necessities for me. Likewise to the backtracking deal, I never found it a big deal to begin with, nor as frequent as people may think. Okay, sure, the general white quest just to set Chapter 7 in motion is easily the worst offender to this, forcing you to visit nearly every location in the game just to realize the doorknob is back in the place you need to be in the first place. I won't defend that much, but even that doesn't bother me personally. If I really wanted to rectify that one specifically, maybe rearrange the areas visited so you're not trekking all over Rogueport so much. Petalburg and Bogley Wood should be back-to-back areas as their fast travel pipes are directly beside each other. Glitzville and Twilight Town aren't too far apart, both being on the west side of Rogueport, and Key has its fast travel pipe for last. Arguably simpler than spreading them out unnecessarily. Beyond those, there's one other thing that's less of an I need this in the game and more of a means of satisfying curiosity: the localization. TTYD's English version held a lot of differences compared to other regions. Common example being Vivian, the youngest Shadow Siren. It's a bit inconsistent across various languages, and this is the last thing I want to make a mistake on. But I believe in the Japanese version, she is a male who refers to herself as female, while other languages portray her as a transgendered female. In English version, however, these instances are completely absent, and Vivian is portrayed as a female character. I'm quite curious to see how they'll handle this. Other minor questions include the confusion surrounding pale piranhas and piranha plants. As the English version claims that pale piranhas are a colorless subspecies, while the piranha plants in the Pit of 100 Trials, which are depicted as normal-looking piranhas, are treated as a normal thing. But in almost every other language, pale piranhas are actually the normal piranha plants, while the normal-looking ones in the pit are a more powerful subspecies, despite their identical looks. Again, this is mostly out of curiosity and won't change how I see the game. It'll just be amazing no matter what questions get answered or not. I think that about wraps it up for all the things I'd like to see in this game. Honestly, there isn't that much, because I already think Thousand Year Door is an amazing game to begin with. It doesn't really need all that much. The visuals alone are already promising enough, and the soundtrack is also promising to sound really good. So it's hard for me to really ask for anything more. But either way, I hope you all enjoyed this, and don't forget to leave what you want to see in this remake. Are you as excited as I am? Well, I sure hope so, because this game is looking absolutely amazing. This is a day one pickup for me. No questions asked. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next one.